Last episode, we talked about why modern parenting feels like an emotional hostage situation. Today, we're going to talk about the uncomfortable part, my dudes. The stuff nobody wants to admit. How love accidentally weakens kids. How validation can turn into avoidance. How protection can quietly erase competence. Come on, parents, brace yourselves. This episode is going to sting, but it might also save you years and years of frustration. I love my kid does not equal this is working. Sometimes it's better to just listen to people who know the psychological science. Practical correction framework later in the episode, my guys. Okay. So, research in developmental psychology suggests that children need emotional acknowledgement, but not emotional outsourcing. When every feeling is immediately soothed, when every feeling is immediately explained or negotiated away, kids don't learn. They don't learn things like frustration tolerance, how sitting with a little frustration can be good for you, right? Emotional regulation. They never actually learn how to deal with those sort of burgeoning emotions. They don't learn any problem solving ability. I mean, they didn't learn a strategy. They were just probably pulled right out of the problem, right out of the fire. I mean, they learn that discomfort means someone else will fix it. This becomes adult helplessness dressed as sensitivity. You don't want your child turning into an adult who can't do things for themselves. They don't even have the first clue what they're doing. The difference between empathy and a rescue: I see you versus I'll fix it. Guys, the anxiety just reinforces that loop. It turns into what we call helicopter parenting. And this leads to something we call learned helplessness. Studies on autonomy supported parenting suggest that kids thrive. They really just thrive when they are allowed three different things. One, choice. They need some choice in life. It teaches them how to make decisions. Effort, right? And failure. Failure is the key one here. Now, overparenting, it correlates with things like increased anxiety, lower self-efficacy, being sort of able to do things and then feel good about your ability to do those things. Self-efficacy, right? Poor coping skills. I mean, when you overparent, your kids don't learn how to deal with anything. If a child never struggles safely, they panic unsafely when they're an adult. And this leads to some really bad outcomes, parents. Teach your kids to be resilient by letting them fall and picking themselves back up. I mean, kids who can't tolerate boredom, they're bored later. They're anxious. They're in the therapist's office. Parents investing too fast? I mean, come on now. Let them struggle. This doesn't equal neglect. When the kid leaves and the parent loses their mind, I mean, guys, this is a big problem. Helicopter parenting, which then turns into learned helplessness, right? This is the part no parents want to hear about. No parent ever wants to hear this part. And nobody ever warns the parents about this part, honestly. Overparenting doesn't end at high school graduation, it just mutates. I mean, the kid goes to college, and suddenly the parent has separation anxiety. Come on, parents. What are we doing? I mean, it used to be, I cannot wait till that kid turns 18 and gets the heck out of here. Don't let the door hit you on the way out, right? Give me a call from college and tell me how the party's going. The parents going to therapy because Johnny left. Susie's not here anymore. Research on family systems and attachment suggests that when a parent's identity has fused with their child's daily functioning, separation doesn't feel like a transition. It feels like withdrawal. It's a physical pain. I mean, and you see it everywhere, right? You got parents calling professor and embarrassing the hell out of little Johnny. I mean, little Susie is mortified in the back of the classroom. Susie, are you here? Tell mom not to call again. This is your professor of philosophy and ethics. I mean, dudes, you got parents tracking location apps like it's NORAD. You got, Life 360. If you've seen the Black Mirror episode where the guy, or the lady puts that device into her kid where she can see through her eyes, I mean, it doesn't feel like we're that far off. And it didn't end well for that parent or that child. I mean, panic is setting in. Parents are panicking because their kid didn't text back for 6 hours. 6 hours. That is not concern. That's identity shock. Oh, take a breath, guys. They're going to be okay most of the time. If your kid isn't missing, right? They're at Chipotle. Take a breath, right? They're with, Johnny's with Susie getting the burrito combo. Look, if you know their class schedule better than they do, you have got a problem, parents, right? Stop emailing advisors just checking in. You're not doing them any favors. You're making it seem to them like they don't have to do anything in life because mommy's going to be there. Daddy will be there to pick me up. You're hurting them. Stop it. Studies in developmental psychology and family role theory suggest this happens when parenting becomes a primary source of purpose in life. Control is mistaken for care. Letting go feels like abandonment instead of success. Parents, give yourself a pat on the back. You've raised a child who is now going off to college. Let them go. So when the kid leaves, right, what happens? The parent experiences anxiety, right? What are they doing? Oh my gosh. I hope they remember to brush their teeth. They feel empty inside, right? Their whole purposes just went out the door. And, some professors and little Susie are going to be soothing their pain. Loss of control. Because you really have none at this point. Your kid's an adult, right? It's just going to get worse. Let them go. Otherwise, the anxiety is going to shoot through the roof. You're going to look back at your life and be like, what the hell did I do? It's like a low grade existential crisis. And this leads to two things, right? Over involvement, either you micromanage from afar, or emotional collapse. I don't know who I am anymore. Neither helps the kid, neither helps you, parent. I mean, I get it. Sometimes this feels like identity foreclosure, right? In parents, it's a whole control versus trust thing. But guys, you didn't lose your kid, right? You completed a phase. Be proud of yourselves. You did a great job. Hopefully you did a great job, right? When they get to college, I guess we'll see. When they get out into life and into the real world, then we're really going to see, right? I mean, launch is not abandonment, guys. It's promotion. And this is the reframe that parents desperately need. Your job was never to be the pilot forever, right? Your job was to become mission control, right? You don't fly the ship, you just monitor the systems, right? You're available when needed, not constantly broadcasting instructions, right? You're not the co pilot anymore. You're back at mission control and you're there for when they need to check in, make sure they can land safely. You're available when you're needed. All right. That transition is psychological work, parents. It's going to be tough. And most parents are never actually taught how to do it, right? Because parenting phases as roles, right? This was never really something taught to you, right? Not the different phases of life, not how to sort of grow with your child. And you were never taught why this constant contact delays autonomy, right? Presence without interference, that gives them sort of a secure base that they can go back to. Kind of like when you were a little, they were a little kid and you were at the doctor's office or the dental office and they were running around playing and playing in the coloring books and stuff. But they always knew that you were sitting back there reading your magazine, right? Where they knew you were there and they could go back if they needed you. Be that same person now. All right. This is exactly why Planting Thoughts, the educational arm of Plant the Spark Global Media and Coaching LLC, created a full digital training manual for parents called The Launch: From Helicopter Parent to Mission Control. This is not therapy fluff. This is not guilt based parenting advice. This is a step by step psychological framework for detachment without disconnecting, supporting without controlling. And we all want to do that, parents. And your kids really want that, right? They want to know that they can do something and that you know that they can do something. This helps them build their self confidence, right? Their self efficacy. Guys, this framework helps you redefine your purpose when your kid leaves, right? Not lose your mind when the silence hits. Because the real test of parenting isn't how involved you are when they're dependent, it's how well you let them go when they're no longer dependent. Launch is a skill, it's not an instinct. Your instincts are going to be shouting, "Help, little Susie!" Guys, you can help her from afar, right? Parents need training too, all right? Parents need training too. Look, once you understand that letting go is part of good parenting, not failure, we can finally talk about how to correct overparenting without swinging into neglect. Which brings us to the practical homework, the practical framework, if you will, that I promised earlier. So, what is the pause and predict method, as I like to call it? The pause and predict method. So, before stepping in, right, before stepping into whatever the issue is, I want you to pause. Just give yourself a moment. And I want you to ask yourself, what skill is this moment trying to teach? And then I want you to predict in the mind, what happens if I don't intervene? Most growth happens in the pause. Give yourself a minute. Ask what the skill is life is about to teach little Susie. Ask yourself what happens if you don't intervene. And then the practical steps are start delaying your response. After you've done this little process, delay responses, right? You don't have to text back immediately, right? I feel like I'm giving you dating advice, right? Plant the spark, baby. You want to encourage self-repair, right? Praise their effort. Don't rescue. Teach them how to do things, observe them doing it on their own, right? Give them maybe some modifications if it didn't work out for them, some ideas, some advice, right? And then let them try again and be proud of them. Tell them that you're proud of them. Look, guys, ask yourself this: am I raising comfort or competence? Am I preventing pain or preventing growth? Because in the final episode, we're zooming out. We're going to ask, what do the healthiest cultures on earth do differently? And why meaning, not comfort, is the real goal. Peace.